Today we're going to be making a Greek moussaka, and what that is, it's like a lasagna except without the noodles. So what do we use instead of noodles? Vegetables. So we're going to start off with my favorite vegetable, my spirit vegetable, potato. What we're going to do is we're going to peel it, slice it up, toss it with some oil, some salt, pepper, and then some red chili powder just for fun because I like things spicy. And then we're going to put it into a baking pan along with an onion that we did the same thing to. And then we're going to bake it in the oven for about 20 minutes and then get ready for our next layer. So when the potatoes and onions are out of the oven, we're going to do the same thing with my favorite vegetable, the eggplant. Get one, the bigger the better, size matters. So we're going to cut this again into discs, and then we're going to cover it with oil, salt, pepper, and red chili powder again. Layer it on top of the potatoes and onions that we just baked, and then put it back in the oven for another 20 minutes. So for our final vegetable noodle, we're going to use 2 zucchini. So we're going to do the same thing again, where we're going to slice it up into discs, coat it with some oil, salt, pepper, red chili powder, toss it together, and then layer it on top of our baked eggplant, potato, and onion mixture. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create the meat layer of our lasagna. So we're going to start off with a little bit of oil in our pan, and then for the base of any good meat layer, you're going to need some onions. So I have 1 whole onion that's diced up, so that's going to go straight in. And then this part is optional, but I had some laying around, so I'm going to put in some chopped jalapenos in there as well, so that they can kind of sweat down with the onion too. So this whole process is going to take a few minutes, so we'll come back to it when it's done. So now our onions are about halfway, 3/4 done, so we're going to add the next thing that makes any base very flavorful, which is garlic. So as you know, I don't really use regular garlic that much. I have a paste of garlic, ginger, and some more green chilies that I'm going to add in right now. You can just use regular garlic if that's all you have. You don't want to add the garlic too early, otherwise it'll start burning before your onions are done. So the next thing we're going to add is some spices. So I'm using a little bit of red chili powder, some cumin, and the next thing that we're going to add is something not usually found in savory cooking, but it's very common in this Greek moussaka, which is a little bit of cinnamon. So don't worry, we're not adding too much, so it's not going to taste like apple pie or anything like that. But we'll give all of this a stir together so that the flavor base can get this nice, rich, toasty flavor of all of our spices and aromatics. So now we're going to go in with our ground meat. I'm using ground turkey. You can use ground chicken, ground beef, ground lamb, or you can use a vegetable substitute if you want. Now we're going to add a little bit of salt to season up the meat, and really use your spoon to break up the pieces so that you get a nice smooth texture and you don't have any big chunks in there. Okay, so now that the meat has gotten a chance to brown and pick up some flavor, we're going to add a little bit of tomato sauce. So we're going to cook the whole thing down until it's nice and dry because we don't want a soupy layer in our moussaka. So we cooked our meat until it was nice and brown and the liquid from the tomato sauce had dried up. And so now we're going to work on the final layer of the moussaka, which is the bechamel sauce. So traditionally you would make this bechamel sauce from scratch, which involves butter and flour and milk and cooking it down for a while, but we're going to use a shortcut here. Jarred Alfredo sauce, which is essentially bechamel sauce anyway, except with a little bit of cheese and garlic mixed in. So what we're going to do first is take about 1/3 of our Alfredo sauce and mix it in with our meat mixture so it's nice and sticky and can hold its own as a layer in our moussaka. And then we're going to layer that sticky meat mixture on top of the rest of our vegetables and pour the rest of the Alfredo sauce on top. And then we're going to stick it back in the oven for about 25 to 30 minutes until it's nice and bubbly.